A new Team MMA promotion has just started. They're going to be launching this year, and they just had their draft last week. The GFL, the Global Fight League, which is putting on Team MMA events, I'll explain what that means in a minute, is going to launch their first season, and they just had their first draft, where they drafted a bunch of basically UFC releases, very old fighters to fight on these rosters. We're going to talk about the layout of GFL and just who ended up on these teams altogether. So stick around to hear my thoughts on the GFL 2025 draft. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. All right, guys, before we get into the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. All that good YouTube stuff really helps me out a lot. If you want to help the channel out just a little bit more, support just a little bit more, and you want access to some bonus content like members-only live streams, become a channel member through the link below this video or the join button on our channel homepage. Thank you very much. Back to the video. As some of you may have seen, former UFC welterweight champion, two-time Jake Paul victim, Tyron Woodley was the first overall pick of the GFL draft. We're going to get into this, but like I've been talking about, combat sports is about to enter a golden era. We might be in it right now. People say MMA peaked with UFC 229. Combat sports peaked with Mayweather versus McGregor. Wrong. We are in the golden age of combat sports right now. The PFL just put on their best event. They improved production incredibly. They actually might be headed in the right direction. BKFC just put on a huge card. Conor McGregor's tied to them. They have a very promising 2025, 2026 and forward. I think they're going to grow a lot. UFC, peak UFC. Quality cards, I know some of them are bad, but we're about to probably get a Netflix deal from UFC next year, and that's going to grow the sport even more. And then we also have a new startup right here, which might be gone in a year. This might be their only season, but it's combat sports. If this is Fight Society, we're going to talk about it, you know? They might be gone by this time next year, but there's a lot of big names tied to it, so we got to talk about it. Combat sports is in a very good place. PFL improvements, BKFC is growing, UFC, top of the food chain, continues to grow. And now we have a new promotion as well with a different format. So we'll see. Now, official 2025 GFL rosters, former UFC champion Tyron Woodley selected #1 overall. Interesting. But here are the teams. Team Dubai, managed by Cain Velasquez, coach Javier Mendez. And then you have just the recognizable names. Omari Akhmedov, light heavyweight, former UFC fighter. Todd Duffy, former UFC fighter. Luke Rockhold, Derek Brunson, Tyron Woodley, Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov, Damir Ismagulov, Tamir Valiev. Those are the most recognizable ones for Team Dubai. Team London, managed by Luke Barnott, coached by Carl Prince. You have Tanner Bozer, Ilir Latifi, Alexander Gustafsson, Gegard Mousasi, Norman Park, Benson Henderson, Mike Grundy, Cameron Else, Panny Kianzad, a lot of UFC rejects or cuts on this one. Josephine Knutson. Team LA, which I'm hoping to get in with. I'd love to interview some of the people on this team for real. I'd like to actually get in on the ground floor with GFL because they're so new. It'd be sick. Hey, GFL, reach out to me. I already hit you guys. Reach out to me. fightsocietycontact@gmail.com. GFL, hit me. Managed by Vanderlei Silva, Team Los Angeles, coached by Rafael Cordero. You got some really old guys, but Andrei Arlovsky, Frank Mir, Rashad Evans, who said he's not a part of it, we'll see. Dawoon Jung, Uriah Hall, Lorenz Larkin, Tony Ferg, Sage Northcutt, Chad Mendez, Uriah Faber, Ray Borg, Aspen Ladd, Cynthia Calvillo, Corey McKenna, Jessica Penn. There's a lot of big names here. I don't know how they're paying for this. I'd love to know who their investors are. Team Miami has got JDS, Robelis Despain, Thiago Santos, Philip Lins, Yoel Romero, Daddy Boxing, Hector Lombard, Gleason Tebow, Jeremy Stevens, we'll see though, he might be in BKFC, Anthony Pettis, Charles Rosa, Marlon Moraes, Kat Zingano, Paige Van Zant, Hannah Goldie just got cut by the UFC. Team New York's got Kevin Lee, Chris Weidman, Holly Holm, Kai Kamaka, Jimmy Rivera, Neiman Gracie, Dylan Dennis, Phil Hawes, Devin Clark, OSP, Alan Belcher, Alexei Olenek. A lot of big names. They're probably getting paid a lot. I'd love to know where they're getting this money from. Team Sao Paulo's got Verdum, Shogun Hua, who should not be fighting anymore, Alex Oliveira, one of the Pitbull brothers, Henan Barao, Asunsao, Vivian Araujo. A lot of big names on these teams. And I mean, it was off to a very bad start because they did have this mishap where they accidentally showed the entire draft results before the draft actually started on the stream. But This is what happens. I've accidentally doxed myself on stream before. These things happen, okay? It's not the end of the world, but it's not great to show who's in charge of their production. It could have just been an intern clicking a wrong button, but still. And there's a few things. A lot of people are talking about the age, because I posted a thing saying that this is GFL Grandpa Fighting League. And here is a post here on Twitter. I found it on Reddit by Oven Vithanij. And he's talking about the GFL stats. Average age of the roster, 35.7 years old. Oldest team, Miami. A quarter of the roster is over 40. 60% of the roster is over 35. Only 15 guys are under 29. The oldest fighter is 47. The youngest is 21. Interesting. Couple of hiccups there. Don't love that. But here's how the GFL is supposed to work, okay? Discover the innovative model of the Global Fight League and unique benefits it offers its athletes. The season structure, road to the championship. So you have a regular season where people play against each other, and then the top 4 out of 6 teams will make the playoffs, and then it's kind of like NFL playoffs. They have a logo very similar to the NFL as well, but regular season, teams fight each other. 2 of them don't make the playoffs. Finals, champion, all that. But there's a point system here. And this is where the team MMA comes into play. So you have Global Fight League scoring system. Every fight counts. Points contribute to the team's overall score. This is what I was talking about when I said that this is team MMA. It's almost like a game. Like the whole card is almost like a football game where there's a final score. So finish win, 4 points. Decision win, 3 points. Draw, 2 points. Decision loss, 1 point. Finish loss, 0 points. Points contribute to the team's total score. Assuming what you have is let's say Team LA against Team New York, and they have the card laid out. It's LA's heavyweight and New York's heavyweight, bantamweight against bantamweight. You understand what I'm saying? Each team's fighter from a weight class fights another team's fighter from their weight class, and then the points add up from these throughout the entire card, and then you have a winner. So instead of saying like, oh, this amount of points for the season or anything like that, it's just we're 1-0 because we scored 50 points and they scored 37 points or something like that. So it's very much structured like team sports. The athlete benefits that they're claiming, and there is a caveat to this, but 50-50 revenue share. Athletes earn a fair share of revenue generated from events, ensuring their success is directly linked to the league's success. The reason that I need to say something about this, if they fail and never make a dime, that doesn't matter at all. The 50-50 revenue, you can't split half of nothing. So as long as they do well, this means a lot. Like if the NFL does this, or the NFL does do this, NFL, NBA, if they did this, it'd be a lot. The UFC, already established, successful. If they did this, it'd be a huge chunk of money. The GFL, if they fail, the fighters, they can't get half of nothing. So insurance coverage, health and injury insurance fund to protect athletes from unexpected medical costs and support their well-being. Sounds expensive. We'll see if that works. Comprehensive support, access to training resources, medical assistance, and promotional support to enhance their careers. We'll see. A lot of fucking companies have a corporate, they have like a corporate office that's supposed to support them and doesn't support them at all. So we'll see. Global exposure, opportunity to compete on a world stage, increasing visibility and attracting sponsorships like that. Not as big as the UFC, but obviously, still a good idea. Retirement benefits, a structured retirement fund to secure athletes' financial futures after their careers in the ring. We'll see if they last long enough to even establish that, but I like the idea. Athlete-centric model, a league designed to prioritize athlete well-being, safety, and career development. That's actually kind of a red flag, and it's not for the reason that you think I'm going to say. The UFC is UFC-centric, and that's why they've lasted so long. If they're this is the dirty secret about the fight industry. Promotions make money off of underpaying fighters. Most of us know this, okay? Other people get rich off of underpaid fighters because most fighters don't get paid much. If you're a champion or a big star, different story, but most fighters are not making much, if anything, even at the pro level. That's why the UFC, prioritizing the UFC was so massive. Because although it's controversial, the contracts, the business practices of the UFC, it's very well what could have kept them alive and allowed them to get to this point. Now that we've talked about all of the details of GFL, I'm hoping they do well, but it's a very harsh uphill battle, especially introducing a new form of MMA. PFL, it didn't work out for. They had to go away from the season model. They're doing like tournaments and matchmaker format now. So we'll see what happens here. But the idea is not new, but the idea is interesting because the IFL did this years ago. We'll see, but it's interesting. I'll definitely tune in, and I'd love to like kind of have a relationship with them because they're new. So if they last longer than 1 year, I'd love to interview some of their fighters, and I'd love to like have something to do with the media of them because they're new. You know, I see they're tied to Ariel Helwani and all that, but there's a Team LA. I'd love to do some media for Team LA, something like that. So we'll see what I can get cooked up for you guys. All right. Let me know your thoughts on the GFL. I'm not too sure what happens. I hope they make it because more places for fighters to fight is always better. More money to be made for fighters is always better. I'm not super certain on the Team MMA thing. If it works, that'd be great. But if not, I could see them kind of trying to adjust as time goes on. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. It really helps me out a lot. If you want access to bonus content, become a channel member today by clicking the join button on our channel homepage or the link down below this video. If you're interested in some non-MMA content from me, go check out my podcast, What's Up Bro, with Wyatt and Bo, in the link down below. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.